So did he use a normal fire-tipped arrow? Because that's very much what it looked like, but when it hits a bunch of wood it goes off like it was grenade-tipped or something, rather than just starting a fire.
Including local resident Sarah Lance, survived by her sister Laurel.
Well, that was rude.
I didn't realize you wanted to sleep with my mother, Walter.
I saw you fill up her drink. What more proof do I need of your intentions for sex? Also brought up the subject of his mother and the subject of sex without throwing up a tiny bit in his mouth.
And I don't want you to think that either one of us did anything to disrespect your father.
You probably did some things that disrespected him a little.
That one day it would reconnect me with you.
A rock, that is sweet.
Being able to see it's a rock when he stood behind him.
I want one of those t-shirts that says my friend was a castaway and all I got was this crappy shirt.
This guy taking out the trash decides it's a good idea to yell "hey" before he's even fully rounded the corner after opening the door. I mean, what was he aware of that was happening that caused that reaction, considering the only weapons that were being used were dart guns and the only other noise was a van pulling in? That moment when you fire off about 20 rounds in a single direction and all of them miss.
It's funny, isn't it? One day back and already somebody's gunning for you. Aren't you popular?
This seems like a mildly inappropriate way to treat rich people who just survived being killed at the hands of kidnappers. People often think, well, they're cops, they can do what they want, and that was true about 50 years ago, but not today. These rich people put in the single call to his boss, and he's fucked.
Hey. Thank you.
Says, hey, in a dramatic way, which almost looks like he's going to say something touching and emotional, and then just says, thank you, and takes the tray of food, thus shattering this woman's hopes for some sexy time forever.
You're still a good boy,
Oh, I think we both know I wasn't.
but a good heart.
Yeah, she's just BSing you, dude. She knows you were shamelessly cheating on your girlfriend and going around getting wasted all the time, so not such a good guy.
Do we have an agreement, sir?
Did you really have to get out of the car to check the back seat after hearing the back door close, cars honking their horns on the opposite lane, and the ability to simply look over your shoulder and see no one's there? Instead of just getting into the car himself, bad guy bodyguard decides to fire a gun randomly in the direction that the arrow itself ended up, as in it was fired from the opposite direction to where he shot, and then even more randomly just stands there rather than getting into the car himself and leaving. Must have found the guy on Craigslist or something. How does one go about pulling a guy completely out through a car window when the attacker is on top of the car at the time?
If I see you again, you're dead!
Bad guy stupidly makes a threat he cannot uphold while having no power at the time cliché. Clock on phone is physically making a sound as the seconds go by, which phones don't do.
I know that it couldn't have been easy for you when I was away.
Away? No, you died.
Kind of awkward after you said when you first saw him again, I knew you were alive. Fucking liar. Phone sound effect helps the viewer know that the phone is doing something.
Hit into it.
Laurel.
You always saw the best in me.
I'm sorry, but that is way too long between sentences.
I'm just gonna hurt you again. This time it'll be worse.
Can it get much worse than sleeping with her sister and then her sister dying during that time?
Something I can help you with, sir?
Bodyguard being in the right place at the right time sure does look good for TV, but it's kind of confusing when looked into a little bit. I mean, how did he know he'd be leaving via the kitchen area?
All's clear.
So are we being led to believe that because one man was attacked who has influence that he's able to have the police send multiple police cars, what looks like a SWAT truck, and what sounds like a police helicopter? This TV show is making it seem as though the dude is the president and not the citizen that he is, who at best would likely have a pair of officers stationed outside and not half the city's police force.
Oh, Mr. Merlin, imagine my shock at finding you here. Did you roofie anyone special tonight?
This seems like a really odd thing for him to be doing rather than trying to capture the guys after. This is just a serious waste of time, but has no doubt been added so that our main man can quickly appear and be all like, see, I've been here the whole time. Party time, whoop whoop.
Did
you even try to save her?
Okay, let's go, partner. Did you even try to save my daughter?
Okay, that's fair enough. I'll remove a sin here.
How did he do it?
Money-sucking arrow.
$50,000 magically appeared in your bank account. It might be best for you not to speak about it.
I guess the answer as to how he managed to get access to all of the victim's bank account details is because reasons.
Do you think this is what Dad would want for you?
That people don't want anything.
Well, he said, do you think this is what Dad would want for you, not do you think this is what Dad wants for you. One is past tense and one is present. There is a difference.
That people don't want anything. It's one of the benefits of being dead.
This just comes across as an incredibly stupid line, because wanting something isn't necessarily a bad thing. So this is just more awful teenage emo bullshit.
Protective custody? I seem to recall you trying that once I discovered boys. It didn't work then either.
This woman hasn't been in the episode all that long and already she's annoying me. If there was some valid reason as to why having a police officer around whose job it is to protect you from genuine threats was such a bad thing, then maybe I could get on board. But all this woman is doing is bitching for no real reason.
You'll be protected, okay? End of discussion.
That might have worked when I was 8, but it's not gonna work anymore.
You can go ahead and take a second sin for the stupidity of these actions and the dumbass attitude for no reason.
What happened to you out there?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it, cliche.
Look, I know it was hell where you were, but it was hell here too. You gotta let someone in.
Yeah, man, after all, it's been a whole week and you're not entirely back to normal. Okay? A whole week. Gunman decides to begin firing after they ran away a little bit. You know, to give him a chance.
Are you hurt?
No.
Are you hurt, Mr. Lee?
No.
When just hearing an answer once isn't enough to satisfy your bodyguard. Believe it or not, but the scene actually doesn't end there either.
Are you hurt?
No.
Are you hurt, Mr. Lee?
No.
Are you hurt, Mr. Lee?
No. No.
Are you hurt?
No.
Sometimes at moments like this, I have to just wonder how the scene could have ever happened like this. I mean, for example, did the cop pull up with everyone else but then run off randomly on his own and happened across our main boy here? Now that'd make sense, but after he's made his escape, suddenly lots of other officers turn up at this one spot. So why did they come? Because they weren't called, and if they were all meant to come to this one point, then how did the detective beat them all there? Lots of questions and no answers, so it's enough to easily sin.
The DA now has no choice with Mr. Summers' confession to prosecute him.
He's going to jail, Emily.
TV show tells us that simply having a forced confession under pain of death is enough to send someone away for the rest of their life for murder.
I thought I didn't need police protection anymore.
I thought I didn't need a reason to see my own daughter.
You don't?
Then your second comment cancels out the first.
Robert didn't tell him anything that could hurt us. He has no idea that the yacht was sabotaged.
Really in-your-face exposition.
A virulent cancer.
Destroying the gym equipment, which looked like it took a long time to make because cool-looking shot.
I have armed security inside. All I have to do is call out.
This seems like a very odd reaction to the glass being shattered, which for most would seem like a shot from a sniper or something. But then also, upon finding out who did the attacking, his reply is one of, if I yell, my security will come, rather than being scared like normal and trying to get away.
So how was your evening, sir?
You mean after I said I had to go to the bathroom at dinner and never came back?
Yet in an earlier episode, this bodyguard told him that if we were to ditch him one more time, then he'd happily just quit the job himself.
It's best to give her space.
She's testing you.
Yes. Who'd she learn that from?
That still doesn't make it right though, does it? I can understand that statement being said by the increasingly irritating teenage sister, but not the mother now as well.
Maybe he's finally figured out there's easier ways to kill people than with a bow and arrow. I guess like you said, the guy's a whack job.
Yes, and it's an opinion based upon nothing.
Unique MO. He's killed all over the world.
Arrow is able to hack all of this information or something because things. I mean, the guy's been away on an island for 5 years and he's like an expert hacker when he gets back. Oh, also, this is a Microsoft monitor which isn't made.
Max Fuller. Uh-huh. I slept with his fiance.
Yeah, before the wedding.
It was at the rehearsal dinner.
The rehearsal dinner is technically before the wedding, right?
Cheating.
You'll be home by 4.
Or what? You're gonna call the cops on me?
How about, or you won't be getting any more money and I'll take all the stuff I bought you away until you can start acting like an actual 17-year-old.
I never told you that they've been screwing while you were gone.
You mean when he was dead to the world? Not exactly the same thing.
Keep your hands off of me. You're not my father.
Okay, this is now getting too sins for just becoming such a boring and tiring side story that honestly I just wish they'd wrap up and do away with now.
It's my client, Oliver Queen.
Looks like you're doing a bang-up job protecting him.
If they wanted to portray that he was injured and thus make this comment make sense, then they really should have made him look like he was visibly hurt, like at all.
Guess you won't be extending me any professional courtesy.
We're not in the same line of work.
This guy could have won so easily by just walking around the side of the pillar while shooting. So are they trying to tell us that he literally supported them through public areas all the way back here? That's just odd. It would have made way more sense for him to just have had the herb on him and treated him there.
If it's all the same to you, I'd prefer keeping you in my sights at all times. We're 20 miles from the city. If you don't drive me, how else am I going to get there?
Well, you could walk to the car together.
Fingerprints, we have blood, we got motive.
How have you got motive? All we've heard so far is that they were having a loud argument, but that doesn't equal motive. Why does she stay holding on to the fence?
He would have killed that man. I looked in his eyes. It's like he had no remorse.
Yeah, what a scumbag for wanting to kill the man who was actively attempting to murder a woman in front of him. He's like totally a crazy man, that's for sure. One would assume in a super secret facility that they'd have installed a simple password block or alert after someone has tried and failed to input the correct password so many times.
Oliver Queen.
What is this? You can't just barge in here.
Yeah, well, I got a badge and a gun that say different.
Yes, well, regardless, you still need a warrant to enter someone else's home. How this is being done would be seen as incredibly bad police practice and hinder any potential case against the person through not following protocol. I'm not saying the police can never do this, but there has to be a really good reason, like fearing the perp might be escaping the country or might be harming someone inside, neither of which are likely considering the family.
This is a mistake.
As far as I can tell, the only mistake I made was not shooting you down at the docks when I had a chance.
I am not who you think I am.
Allowing himself to be questioned without a lawyer. He's definitely smarter than that.
Security camera footage of you from the Unidac costume with a green hood does that pretty well.
How does he know it's a green hood when the camera clearly isn't in colour? He could be lying, but I don't think he'd do that considering the fact that he loves the law so much.
His parents are here.
Tell him to wait.
I want to see my son.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation here.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this just doesn't happen like this. Either he's given access to a lawyer or he declines one, but either way, the parent can't just come back in this way, even if they are rich.
So then I guess it's a good thing that the people's case is so circumstantial. I'd like to file my appearance on behalf of the defendant.
Here, the judge, having heard from the defendant that he's representing himself, should in actual fact confirm this new representative with the defendant to ensure it's not just a random lawyer walking in saying they're now in charge.
No, it is the videotape. It is the suspicious timing. That is the reason.
This is Oliver Queen we're talking about.
Oh, they just had a loud argument. Now, if she turns up dead according to what he said about the death row in the last episode, the police would now have motive to think he killed her.
It is quite possible he's suffering from some form of post-traumatic stress.
Which is not something that you, who is not a fucking psychiatrist, can say. Not to mention that literally everything that's happened upon his arrival back to the city has shown that that's not the case.
You're looking at life in prison. What Spencer just offered you is a gift.
Well, this is a turnaround considering she was saying earlier on that there was no way he could possibly have done it. Now suddenly life in prison without a set release date is a gift.
You have a family. Friends, people who actually care about you. So don't for 1 second think that you're the only person with something to lose here.
Having been in this kind of position, I can state that it's really annoying when people think it's just as hard for those potentially going to prison for years upon years as it is for the family members on the outside. It's not.
Are you the man in this picture?
Well, that's an easy one because that's a drawing and thus couldn't be him. I understand the idea behind it, but still, technically, that is not him. Whoa, okay, now that was a really awesome fighting scene. Honestly, I even rate that better than the majority of the battles I've seen in Marvel's Iron Fist show on Netflix, and I was honestly surprised as this just come out of nowhere. For this, and it's very rare that I do this, I'm going to remove 5 sins. Most useless bodyguard in the history of bodyguards being useless.
Oliver, I'm not finished talking. Where you going?
Go make a difference. Let's catch some bank robbers.
Saying this out loud in public probably isn't the smartest idea, but it does look good for TV.
That ring will get us an ID.
Yeah, but even with photo enhancement, you're gonna have a problem getting a clear shot of that ring.
Arrow joins the long list of TV shows and movies which tell the viewer that you're able to zoom in on a picture like this and enhance it.
I got it, let's go!
I'm sorry, I let this go the first time, but now I'm just confused and thus have to add a sin since no one has bothered to explain to us how they're actually making these escapes possible. I ignored the first one, assuming they dug the hole beneath the safe beforehand, but now this time it looks like they dug it during the robbery itself. But then you have to wonder, how do they know where to dig and that something is underneath? For example, here we see rubble, but also a ladder. So did they bring the ladder? If the ladder was already there, which is extremely likely given its size, then why is there rubble? Because ladders don't tend to be hidden underneath concrete. Because nothing is explained, it deserves 2 sins for both occasions.
Now, cake. Chocolate or mocha?
Carrot.
Are you sure about that? Because Bugs Bunny hasn't RSVP'd yet.
The idea that this motorcycle girl kills someone in broad daylight and then performs a getaway that's so very slow that the man running through some back alleys is able to keep up with her.
What do you think you were doing anyway?
Yeah, I wanted to get the license plate of the guy who took a shot at you.
Well, that was foolish.
Trying to get the plate is foolish. Is it better to let her get away?
Did you get the license plate?
No, he got away.
Maybe you should spend a little less time trying to be a hero.
Being a hero equals getting a license plate.
You left Mom in the street, alone, and hurt.
No, he left her with security guards after confirming like 3 times that she wasn't injured in any way, so fuck you, annoying sister cliche.
In the street.
Where was it again? Oh, that's right, in the fucking street. Thanks for confirming again.
To get a license plate?
Yes, to get the plate of someone who committed murder, you absolute moron.
You don't believe me?
I love you. Mom loves you. It's getting hard when he won't be truthful with us.
She has absolutely no reason to disbelieve him whatsoever. At least give us a scene where her being skeptical is justified, for God's sake.
Well, you know your family's at the tippy top of my list of priorities. And you're welcome.
Should he have thanked him for the sarcastic comment or for basically stating he's not giving police protection because his mother wasn't the target?
I can't very well explain to her that I left our mother alone and bleeding on the pavement.
Was she bleeding? We weren't shown that. Long awkward staring that would make sense if he knew who she was, because as it happens he doesn't and is thus just awkwardly staring at a woman, and that's sinful on a lot of levels.
It's easy to forget, but he lived apart from civilization for 5 years.
So what? He gets like a free pass?
Ugh, this girl's so annoying.
Chi si volta, chi si gira, sempre casa va finita. No matter which way you go or turn, you always end up at home.
Entering and weirdly talking Latin to hide the fact that she was rudely eavesdropping.
I'm heading out.
Let's take one of the guys with you.
I can take care of myself.
I can take care of myself, cliche.
Frank, that meeting you requested, they can do it.
I'm so sorry, something has come up.
Don't have to tell him something's come up when he was in the other room with you not 60 seconds ago when you were told you had another meeting. This show is running low on younger women who do not have a huge attitude problem.
Whoever is pruning the family tree is looking to make Bertinelli suffer.
How often does this woman wear this dress that she was caught in the street for her police undercover photos on board montage and now she's wearing it to dinner with our main boy? Dude, get a mask. It's no wonder you're late to help out when you gotta stop to paint your face first.
I knew.
Backhanded across the face and it leaves absolutely no mark. Slipping plastic cuffs ex machina. My word, at the very least get a stuntman who looks vaguely similar to the actor he's portraying. Before the altercation, you can clearly see an arrow on the right hand side of the car. So what? Maybe Oliver fired at it before and they never removed it, I hear you say. However, watch as the fight begins and Oliver fires an arrow at the car and it hits exactly where the other arrow was. This would be bad enough, however, as the car begins to drive off, we then see the arrow has now disappeared. Then on a close-up shot, the arrow has now reappeared, but now is seemingly next to the car. Finally, as it drives past, the arrow once again disappears. Now that is one magic arrow. I think this calls for 15 sins for being incredibly lazy and not noticing a huge error like this.
Does it come in purple?
SuperheroVigilanteCostumes.com.
How about just a little?
Pointing a crossbow at someone is infinitely less threatening when you have no bolt loaded.
It's Oliver and Laurel. It always has been. That's not gonna change.
Seriously, she made the mistake of bringing up him working for Oliver, and now after everything he said and done to get back with her in the first place, he's accusing her of still having feelings for him. I wouldn't have such an issue with this dumbass plot twist if it actually made literally any sense.
Why don't you both join us?
No, we're just gonna have a drink
We'd
here.
love to. I told you I couldn't be hurt again.
I'm not trying to hurt you.
So, making me have dinner with the love of your life is what, Oliver?
My god, this is the height of stupidity. It was her who asked the two of them to join them for dinner, and right away Oliver said no. Then during the meal they trade silly old stories, one of which reveals that they had a relationship, but nothing about them still having feelings for each other. It's so dumb and nonsensical that I'm adding 5 sins here.
I saw the way you looked at her. That kind of love doesn't die.
The writer of this episode brings up the age-old cliche of, I saw the way you looked at them, as though love is conveyed through the eyes alone. This evidence of eye flirtation is reason enough for her to not only break up with him, but to no doubt go back to murdering people. Asian Tom Hanks. This guy decides to not use his weapon because things and reasons. Agent Tom Hanks is also not very smart, sitting there whilst his guards are taken out, rather than getting up and either trying to escape or help out.
Rico's not answering his walkie. Check it out.
During an emergency, the front door is left unlocked. Being able to fire an arrow and then make it bend through time and space to curl around a person and disarm them.
My dad threw a party every year, and he would put a Christmas tree in every room.
And all the poor kids in the city had none. It was the best Christmas ever.
Is everything okay?
The vigilante has struck again.
Assumptions. Boy, the police sure had this crime scene secured. Despite being nowhere near the police station, Oliver still knows when the phone has been taken out of the bag.
Show up, look fantastic, and bring some Christmas cheer, okay?
Okay. Fine.
Sister being irritating again for little to no reason.
And you can tell him if he's got a problem with that, he can...
Walking down the deserted back alley at night and expecting to somehow not get killed. Stands there looking at what is quite obviously a bomb for 10 seconds before running.
Thea, I have something to tell you.
Entering a girl's bedroom half a second after knocking.
The other archer moved to the next level. He's taking hostages. This just hit the news.
Did he go into this room prior to finding Oliver to turn the TV to the correct channel, turn it off, find Oliver and then come back? Or did he just assume before even turning the TV on that it would be on this specific channel?
Go! Run!
For some reason, his hood has to be up when he wants to fight, which makes little sense as you'd think it would get in the way more than have any positive effect. Doesn't stick around to end the bad guy after knocking him out. 45 seconds of the exact same scene we were shown in the previous episode.
I know I shouldn't have.
It's stolen evidence. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have.
So in his mind, the phone is to be considered evidence, and yet he leaves said evidence on his desk, you know, rather than putting it in the room police stations have called the evidence room. Instead of killing him. Oh no, if only he could have charged at him and ran past him out of the building. Oh yeah.
I know. You're afraid to live? Let me get you out of here.
The guy killed like 4 people in extremely horrific ways, and worse, it was people that literally had done nothing wrong. I'm giving 5 sins for him even attempting to save a serial killer. Really easy to see that this is not the same guy as 2 seconds ago. TV show tells us that this man burns alive and doesn't scream. Wet shirt? Dry shirt?
She's hooking up with Tommy's dad.
That's insane.
I just saw them together.
Yes, that statement is literal and factual. She saw them together. Standing together with a folder in hand, to be precise.
She's not cheating on Walter.
You don't want to believe it because you have this perfect image of Mom in your head.
Complete and utter assumptions and BS.
She's a liar. And a cheater.
I'm sorry, but this is so dumb I'm straight up adding 5 cents here. If she was basing her assumptions on any small pieces of evidence other than seeing the 2 of them standing next to each other, I could let this go. But this is so sinful and irritating as hell.
At my party. Right here in front of me. Walter hasn't been gone 2 months. And you're already cheating on him.
This is too annoying. She's acting like this because she saw him touch her back and leave. You know, like people do. Oh, when you greeted that guy, you kissed his cheek. Even that would be more cheating than someone standing near you and or touching your back when they say goodbye. I'm adding 10 cents for these ridiculous outbursts based upon nothing.
Good thing you're qualified to take his place.
Ted, I think your convincing is going to have to be a lot more convincing.
Oh, dude, just say you'll join the bloody team. You don't have to mean it, you donut.
Or, once we do this, we're on a plane and she can go home to your nephew. It's your call.
Oliver heard all of this, including him getting taken at gunpoint in the first place, and never decided to begin making his way over to him at the start.
Miss Queen has no priors.
Well, just because Miss Queen's family sweeps her priors under the rug doesn't mean they don't exist.
Well, they're either on record or they're not. Or does the lawyer have some special clean record for her and the judge has the official not clean criminal record? This makes no sense at all.
This case will proceed to trial.
Why would it go to trial if she's already pled guilty by telling her lawyer to accept the deal from the prosecution?
Thea, we will handle this, I promise.
Like you promised Walter you'd always stay faithful to him?
Go ahead and take another 5 cents, you stupidly written, cliched character.
I feel better already.
That's enough.
Don't worry. Sounds like you won't have to be putting up with me much longer.
Let her go to jail and this show gets 100% better in my estimations.
You can't divulge secrets you don't know.
Hard to believe that he'd go on to clean up his act and become head of the Central City Police Force, eh?
Vertigo. Its purest form.
If you're going to attempt to claim that this is an injection, you should probably hide a little better the liquid clearly pouring down your hand. Well, a little bit harder to imagine he came back from this to join the police.
I say thanks, but no thanks.
You don't actually have a choice.
Oh, actually I do. So I decide not to be your ex-girlfriend's office monkey.
Not using the automatic lip on the side of the car and in doing so looking like an idiot. Starts behind him, does a fancy swing around and ends up behind him. Nice move? This guy was knocked out by falling on his stomach. The names are now visible compared to when she first showed it to Walter, stating that he needed a special pair of glasses to read the names on it. Littering and thus committing a crime a record 3 seconds after having been released.
George.
Getting stabbed and having literally no reaction to it whatsoever.
She's my mother, Diggle. She's not the kind of person who would
have her husband disappeared.
Good job, writers. Next time I'd go with have her husband made to disappear, as this actually makes sense.
And if your mother is lying to you.
And she didn't know any of the names on the list.
Actually, she never said whether she did or didn't know any of the names. That subject never came up, so take 5 cents for not even writing this episode coherently thus far.
There's no evidence of foul play.
There's no evidence of foul play after a criminal was released from prison, and in the same day that his lawyer goes missing, he moves into the guy's home. How the hell do you work that one out? Hearing the sound of gunfire coming from somewhere really close by and not running towards the house instinctively.
What I learned in prison.
What is the sense in killing all of his bodyguards, people that may or may not have done anything wrong in their entire lives, just to get some info to get the boss locked up who you know has killed dozens of people?
Are you seriously taking his side? He's been lying to me for weeks.
Yeah, it feels like crap, doesn't it?
Technically she didn't lie to you, since she never told you, for example, I'm not talking to the hood, and what she was doing was technically still work, so she's okay on that angle too.
I'm not letting her do anything, okay? I only just found out about it because she accidentally slipped up on one of her many lies.
I'm not sure you can call it slipping up when she voluntarily tells you an entire story. This makes it sound like she accidentally said at dinner, oh, I'm meeting up with Jennifer tomorrow. Tossing a knife to someone when you are close enough to hand it over.
What's this for?
Baking.
To say you fight like a girl would be a compliment.
That's genuinely sexist.
I was just leaving you a message.
Because there's no way it could literally be anyone else at the door.
I love a girl who can take care of herself.
After instinctively attacking the other two men straight away, she, for some unknown reason, pauses when met with a man she believes is a serial killer.
But can't block a taser.
Unless, of course, you block the hand using said taser?
And even if he were to take them out.
Being unable to hear gunshots from inside the house.
24 is the exact number of arrows he carries in his quiver and flechettes around his forearm.
Well, that's pretty dumb. There are people that count bullets that they've shot to ensure they know when to reload, and someone who is as well trained as Oliver wasn't counting his slow-firing arrows.
Excuse me? Can you help me? He's really heavy.
He doesn't hear a woman coming down the metal stairs in heels behind him. Also, for some reason, she decides the time to ask for help is when she snuck right up behind the guy.
And these infrared images show there are at least 10 soldiers guarding the perimeter at any given time.
How is he getting these satellite images? And if they're from a while back, since I don't see any printers or equipment in that plane, how does he know that they're even up to date? That's two sins for not explaining.
They're gonna see us. They're going to see you.
Wait! Stop!
No, they're seeing both of you since you're right in front of them. You know, unless they're blind soldiers? Screaming and giving yourself away because why not?
Skyhawk 801 Foxtrot. Please repeat.
Of all creatures that breathe and move upon the earth.
Not born, bred. Nothing is bred that's weaker than man.
Oh my god, just tell them already. If they were slightly suspicious to start with, the ultra-long silences aren't going to make them any more trusting.
I'm a man of my word. You made the right call today, turning in your young castaway.
How exactly did he turn him in when they were talking inside a tent when the boss man just walked in? It's not like he hit a panic button or called for anyone or anything.
I hope it's alright. Your system looked like it was from the 80s, and not the good part of the 80s.
So to be clear, they're saying that during the night she went out and bought 3 monitors and a new computer and a new desk chair because his system was old and she didn't like that.
Don't worry though, you did exactly as I asked, so it's just unconsciousness for you.
Unconscious?
Well, he didn't have to frackin' do that now, did he? Leave a like if you get the reference.
Last week, the vigilante nearly made my children orphans.
I'm not sure a 27-year-old would consider himself an orphan if he lost his parents. Incredibly dumb criminal snatches a bag and then runs directly towards a fence.
Really? You wouldn't happen to have his name? Thank you so much.
Illegally giving out customer information to a random person on the other end of the telephone.
Oh yes, Cass. God rest his soul.
Having 2 people from Battlestar Galactica in one episode equals a sin removed from me. I loved that show. It would appear that young Gaius Baltar informed the showrunner that sliding over the hood of a car was too much, and so a stunt actor performed the easiest stunt of his life here.
That brooch was donated by the Queen family. If you want it, you're gonna have to bid.
Actually, though, I thought I'd just take it.
He does this right in the middle of the room, where if she screamed and said he was stealing the brooch, like 100 people could stop him from ever being able to get out of that room.
You've got quite the choice to make, don't you?
Not this time. Your median nerve's been severed.
In fact, last night, I went on a date. The guy was kind of a jerk.
Calling him a jerk because he simply said that he didn't want to talk about the horrible things he went through on the island. That's kind of a dick move.
The other half when the job is done.
Real-time money transfer app with inbuilt phone call ability and sound effects.
The undertaking which we set for ourselves is only months from fruition.
There's no chair for the main bad guy, unless he likes to stand for entire meetings?
Check, please.
Asking for the check when they haven't even eaten their meal. I mean, the guy only just came up and delivered it at the start of the scene a few minutes ago. When you can't be bothered to continue fighting, it's sometimes best to pretend a fancy move actually hits you and then lay down. These 2 don't just kill their target, but instead just stand there looking at him.
I'm sorry. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Bulletproof armor that can stop sniper rifle rounds.
He's still gonna need medical attention to fully clean out his system, you understand? Okay. Thank you.
Tear? No tear. So to be clear, she fired a single bolt into him, stopped and loaded another, and then shot that one as well, rather than say one to the heart or head. Island CGI looks very CGI-y.
Let him go!
Okay, now just go punch her and take her out. But I bet he won't.
You know, money isn't everything.
Spoken like someone who's got it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my life of crime.
It's wonderful that they managed to find the show a male version of Thea. The most pointless fighting move in the history of stupid pointless moves.
Give me Frank Bertinelli!
It was always a pretty dumb idea going up against at least 2 armed officers in the front and maybe even 1 more in the back whilst your only weapon is a single loading crossbow.
You won't shoot me. You're not a murderer.
No, because he is a murderer.
I practiced that move.
I'm sorry, I'm adding 5 cents to that. One man being able to stand on someone's wrist and also pull him away at the same time.
Well, I guess I just thought deep down that you were gonna help Mom accept things. Things you and I accepted?
What the actual fuck? Is she seriously saying that she asked her father to look into the idea that her sister could still be alive just so that he'd turn around and convince the mother that she's dead? How retarded is that?
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I can see that.
Dear God, now it's her turn to start acting like a moron in this show. Take 5 cents while you're at it for this nonsense writing. Dropping the camera on the floor for some reason continued the feed for a second and then randomly cut out.
Very well.
Oh, thank you.
Sometimes movies and TV shows can often take heroes and villains disappearing in an instant to the extreme, and this is definitely one of those times. Here's an empty street, no houses nearby, no towers to hook onto. She turns around for less than 3 seconds and he's completely disappeared. I call major BS here, and so I'm giving 5 sins.
Oh, having this much fun should be against the law.
Oh, if wishing made it so.
What does that even mean? You want having fun to be against the law?
Just got mowed down a couple of blocks from here. You're on the Starling Bridge.
Phone picture changing sound effects helps us the viewer know that pictures are changing.
Ring any bells with you two?
No, should she?
Yeah, they're going to remember one girl out of like 100 in the club with her hair also partially covering her face.
You think someone killed her?
Not someone. Something.
Technically someone as well though.
Control your clientele. Before anyone else wanders into traffic.
Yeah, give them women rub-down searches at the door. That'll do the trick.
You could have just said he was nuts.
He did basically infer that when he said,
I've been working with him for months now, and all I've gotten out of him is word salad and the occasional spit in the face. Best of luck to you.
TV show continues to try and convince us that a 90-pound woman can actually stand a chance in a fight against a man who, judging from the look of him, is at the very least 2.5 times her size.
Who taught you how to fight?
My father wanted a son.
Or maybe he wanted a daughter who can actually fight and defend herself.
He got one.
He got one. Just plus the vagina and boobs.
You think that maybe we should be making a plan to stop fires and, I don't know, save your dad?
Does he always whine this much?
Yeah, wanting to save your father. What a whiny bitch.
You gotta see this.
I'm here at the scene where police say a disturbed patient escaped only hours ago.
I never understand things like this. Just come down and tell him, oh, that crazy guy escaped. There, you've just straight up saved them 60 seconds of their time.
They're known as the Count.
Not so crazy after all, huh?
Well, he said he was nuts, not disabled. Tossing over your own table like a dick.
You got anything from the security cameras? Well, according to the orderly here, due to budget cuts, the cameras were the first to go.
Why? Once the cameras are installed, they don't take any extra funding to maintain. You install them and pay the price. You pay for the auto-recording kit at the same time. Then it proceeds to record over and over itself after a certain amount of time, like 1 month for example. So yeah, it's not like they cost you anything after they're in, other than a small bump in your electric bill. I'm giving 4 cents for this.
Look, I'll take a run at it. Keep you out of it.
No, I should do it.
Well, no, you shouldn't do it, as it's conflict of interest, as you pretty much just explained.
What you need?
Asks him what he needs, and the guy hands him a bunch of money and gets some drugs in return. So how did he know what drugs he wanted, and if he only carries 1 drug, why bother asking what he wants? Come on guys, writing these episodes, it isn't that hard! Coordination app with sound effects.
Hack the aquarium security system to get a better look.
You want to hurt with me?
Hacking a security system within seconds.
Why don't you have a look?
Police get a search warrant signed by a judge and then proceed to search the very top of 2 boxes and are content enough to leave.
Has the ME performed the autopsy report yet?
Yeah, just
3 seconds to pull up another patient's confidential files. I really hate it when they do this shit in the show. I'm not saying they have to make things take 30 seconds to find, but at least make it more realistic than this.
I said, turn around.
That arrow is definitely not sharp enough to cut with a little added pressure. Here's a little game you can try on yourself. Just make sure you're alone, otherwise people will think you're a fucking nut job. Close your mouth and try and force it open. It's insanely difficult. Furthermore, forcing someone to drink is almost near impossible, as the reflex to take in the fluids is inside the throat. Basically, you can't manipulate someone in this regard, so it's BS. A hospital orderly is able to fight and almost get the upper hand over someone highly trained from the military.
Clear.
He prepares 3 arrows vertically, but they loose horizontally.
I guess what I'm saying is...
Dramatic chair spin is dramatic!
Me?
How are they taking such good care of their hair? This dude is like the worst assassin ever, literally going all over the place leaving fingerprints and shit.
Did he see you?
No, Mr. Rasmus.
Wow, who would have thought that this guy would go on to become a police officer in Starling City? Please, for the love of fucking God, stop using actors as bad guys and then making them police officers in your new show. Take 5 cents for this.
Did he see you?
No, Mr. Rasmus.
What he saw was the face of the man who will reunite him with his parents.
Which is a douchebag way of saying yes.
You got a minute? No. It's about the hood.
Says it's about the hood, and then just tells him that he's wanting an update on the case.
Okay, great. Just 1 sec.
What?
His badge number begins with a 0, Lieutenant's badge number.
Which she then says as loudly as possible right by the door.
And that's not all he taught me.
He also taught me how to not check over my weapons, like a real badass. Oh wait. He doesn't fire his weapon because reasons.
Hey, I think you got something that belongs to me. You set this up just to get your radio back.
So to be clear, they had to do a full staff briefing and tell them all to ignore a certain message when it goes over the radio across an entire city, just to get a single radio back, and furthermore actually hope the guy decides to go and respond to the call. Wow, I think this is easily worth 5 cents for how implausible it is.
Lila!
What the hell knocked her out? A slight fall to the ground? Pick up the gun he just dropped and go after him.
That if she ever found out who you really are, she would choose you.
Wow, this dude definitely has a lot of faith in his long-term relationship.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, why now? Why even at all?
I thought that I wanted this, and the other night made me realize I don't.
This makes no fucking sense whatsoever. I mean, what's actually happened to make him feel like this? Oh my god, I saw them having a friendly hug. Oh my god, she cared when he was outside the room we were in when there was a crazy killer in the house. This story is so full of annoying cliche BS that I'm giving it 10 cents. Guy fires roughly 12 rounds into a briefcase that's roughly 2 feet high by 1 foot wide instead of shooting literally anywhere else. Bad guy also does the cliche bad guy thing and fires his shots whilst walking closer and closer towards his unarmed opponent. Bad guy also fires off 12 rounds, and yet the briefcase has 6 bullet holes in it.
That is assuming I get the friendly warning and not a bullet.
Hey, you don't have to do this.
Yes, I do.
With all due respect, stop fucking whining about it then. Glass thrown at face with such velocity that it cuts into his face. This woman runs through a constant stream of automatic weapons fire and doesn't get hit. Letting this guy hit him with a pool cue to show how tough he is still really dumb, as it would still hurt quite a bit. A punch to the jaw knocks the man unconscious. Yeah, alright darling, he was your boss, and sometimes he was a bit of a dick to you as well.
You pull up a satellite view.
Yeah.
Dude, how are you even going to try and pass this off as a satellite view? This shit is like Google Earth 4.0, next level stuff. A satellite that can not only zoom directly down but also get a nice cheeky, and not to mention impossible, side view as well. Telling a guy who just killed a bunch of science type people and your colleague to get down on the floor when you have the jump on him is incredibly dumb.
It was easier when Tommy was running things.
Tommy's a good guy.
No, he's not.
We have enough missiles here to shoot down any aircraft approaching the mainland. and that will decimate China's economy.
Yeah, because China definitely won't just sail out there and bomb the entire island.
Get someone down here from Merlin Global to answer a few questions under oath.
Now, I'm not American, so I'm not exactly an authority on this, but when someone talks to the police at a police station, you're not under oath. I thought being under oath was at court and court-like events, such as depositions. I mean, they don't tell you to raise your hand and swear to tell the whole truth in the police interview room, do they?
You order food?
Yeah, I'm addicted to Big Belly Burger.
Never had it.
So are we going to just ignore him being inside the building in uniform? Did they manage to find the correct uniform on eBay? I'm guessing forge his credentials? Then they actually got him an active spot open in the security department and... Okay, take 5 cents for this. I can't even be bothered to come up with enough. What if they did this as is to make this scene make sense?
Mr. Andrews got his lunch?
One belly buster with benzodiazepine.
Sleep tight.
Okay, for the record, I've taken Valium, which is the brand for the medicine compound she just named, and it making you sleepy is not the most common side effect. If anything, if the dude was nervous, he's now definitely not nervous about anything. You can also obviously take too much of it, but even then it's not going to knock you out halfway through eating a burger because it takes a good 45 minutes before you even start to feel it. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this, but it's still a sin regardless. He's a strong guy, but he definitely did not just pull her up like that, as gravity would have a little something to say about her managing to have a rigid arm while being pulled directly up. Seriously though, the actor is a strong dude. He could have very likely pulled her up without help from below, but I guess health and safety and all that.
Ready?
Uh-huh.
The most stupid device for doing this move with. At least make it more realistic and have him at the very least have it wrapped around his wrist. Because what basically just happened is that he held up around 260 pounds with his index finger, as that was the only thing really hooked onto the crossbow via the trigger.
No offense to you, but your brother's kind of a wimp.
Don't say that. My brother survived 5 years alone on an island.
Well, I lost someone too.
Dear Arrow writers, hey guys and gals, I know I'm a little late on constructive criticism for season 1 of Arrow, but I wanted to say, stay on f***ing point. He calls her brother a wimp. She says, don't say that, he survived for 5 years alone on an island. Basically her way of saying, that makes him pretty tough. But his reply is then, yeah, well I lost someone too and they're not coming back. Which has got nothing to do with the original topic, aka, how tough is Oliver Queen? Take 3 cents for this.
Let's start with you.
No one can stop what's about to come.
Hold up, just 80 seconds ago you said...
My hope is that I can explain everything to you.
So you're done already? You didn't explain anything.
No, I'm not any kind of criminal.
What do you call computer hacking?
Hobby?
A little tip for all of you if you're ever unfortunate enough to be in this situation. I want a lawyer should be the only thing that leaves your lips whilst in police custody. I love how the driver just literally continued sitting in the driver's chair whilst his mates were fighting directly behind him, and even worse than that, the bloody thing didn't even need to be moved.
He shot me. I screamed for help, but...
I don't know, she seems pretty dumb to me. If I got shot, I'd be calling 911 and not leaving a long-ass voicemail on my loved one's phone.
Well, how about this time you bring along something you didn't have the last time you two fought? Me.
Or even better, maybe a sawn-off shotgun or something?
Looks like we missed him.
So the police sent a few people to arrest him and then what? Just forget that they were even there? The place would be swarming with officers since they went fully armed to arrest him and never reported back in. They just keep opening up these rather large plot holes.
Where's the transmitter?
Somewhere I can easily get to it.
I doubt it.
Chatting with him instead of just shooting.
Are you ready to die?
Bothering to put the hood on when he already knows your face. Hey, it's Antifa peacefully demonstrating against violence. Oh my word, it's almost as funny as the first time. Seriously? He plunged a fucking arrow through not only his own armor and clothing and skin and muscle and then more clothing and armor, but then exactly the same again for the other guy? Really? She still didn't leave the Glades after the phone call with her father where he tells her to leave right away. Nathan Burr, Bird Without a Word, Arias Alibari, Aidan White, PK Fan, Ali 50, Ryan Anderson, Israel Caldera, Chris Harris, Jonas Stahl, Manolo Saucedo Munoz, Luis Hernandez, Kim Munt, Jason Davies, Yuki Ali, Manuel Morales, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Sentimento, Juffa 6263, Amy San, Alfredo Jimenez, Silva, Master Tank, Boogie, Kevin Nauta, Stefio, Brendan Kriya, Storm 970, Mr. Waffle 64, Mongola Ninja, Kaj Vorzelman, Jordan Samuels, Sean Graves, The Epic Commander, Crimson Shadows, Kyle Farmer, Buzzbomb 3000, Adora Blue, Yagai 7636, Mr. Berigino,